Hello, what's going on, everybody? Today is Monwan Monday. It's May 13th, 2024, the day after Mother's Day. So, hope everybody's mom had a nice day, for Mother's Day.
Yeah,
And all you moms out there, hope you're still having a great time. Get out there, get wild, all right? Get crazy. We're talking about Survivor 46. Let's do it.
it's supposed to be about appreciation.
All right. My name, of course, is John Dunphy Hussein, fake husband to Jamila Hussein. I am joined, as always, by my fellow tribe mates, Mr. Kyle Petty Basal, standing our king, Ferris, and Gina Morgino, standing no one.
No, I just hi
Standing
Ferris.
Ferris.
I was literally just saying I want to change my name for someone. However, the last time I did that, they went home. So now I don't want to. I'm scared.
I think you're trying to have fun here, Gina.
I know.
Whose
I
name,
don't
whose name would it be, though, if you were to change it?
Well, if I'm gonna say it, I might as well just change it.
It'd be Charlie, right?
It would be Charlie, yes.
Snip. No, I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think he's safer now.
I have a really good feeling about Charlie.
Yeah.
I might take this one home, guys. My first draft win. It might be.
You really
it might
might.
be.
It's totally possible.
I hope you don't. I would really love to be the 2024 continued reigning
I
champ.
hope you don't.
Well, I mean, obviously,
Wow.
I'm not in it to lose. So of course, I hope you don't win. I mean, I also am happy if John loses. I don't want anyone to win but me.
Right. That's the whole point of doing these drafts, to win, So, by the way, we're Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod. We're everywhere. Throw us a like, a comment, a subscription, a follow. And leave us a nice review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks. Ferris, what rumors are you talking about?
If it's
What
the one
rumors?
that I think it is, I'm very excited about it. But I don't know if it's the one.
Well, what did you hear, Gina?
Yeah, that
That
is.
apparently they are planning a combined US and Australian Survivor season.
Oh, I'd be here for it. I would.
Yep, there it is.
Oops. Too many people. Too many cooks in
Not
the
touching
kitchen. Yep, I'm off.
All right, well, somebody's got to hit it.
I assumed the host was. But all right, so confirmed.
I wasn't the one
Or
that pressed it
rumor
before.
Australia versus US. Depending on who comes from the US, it may not be a blowout. Because automatically, we want to say that Australia is going to take us out. But hold on now.
I know.
We do have some people on this side. I don't know who they are, but there's some people on this side.
Do you think that for the U.S. to have a chance against Australia, you'd have to dip back into you couldn't just take from New Era. We don't have enough good players in the New Era.
Well, I saw a couple of
with
people
Australia.
saying that there are a lot of old school Survivor players that are just not interested in coming back for a normal season, especially given the changes happening in the new era. But for something like this, they could potentially there was a lot of discourse on Twitter being I wonder if that would be a pull to get a lot of the iconic older players to come back in for something like this.
If Suri wanted to play again, that could be very interesting. Parvati, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Fairplay. We do have some folks over here.
Yeah, that could be fun. I'd be totally down for something like that.
I'm sorry.
Go
ahead. The other name that I'm thinking of is Ricard. I wouldn't mind.
I'd be down
representing our Midland.
I'd be down for Xander to come back. I also would really hope that if it's going to be Australian and US Survivor, that we get both Jeff Probst and Jonathan LaPaglia getting to share the hosting duties. I feel like you can't not have JLP involved, right? If Australia's coming around.
Say it, Kyle. Say it, Kyle.
Yeah, I guess that is best case scenario. I certainly don't want Jeff Probst handling the entire thing. So yeah, I wasn't really considering hosts. I'd rather see a world where JLP just handles the whole damn thing.
I would love I'd be down for a Jeff Probst handling the challenges and JLP handling
Oh,
all of
yeah.
the tribals. I'd be down for something like
Yeah.
that. That could be fun. I like Jeff yelling at them, the way he yells at the players during the competitions, but I think JLP, just like the way he runs the tribal councils.
So you want them both in every episode. I'd rather a trade-off, because I don't want to not hear JLP call some of these things out. I mean, he's pretty iconic too.
Oh, he's great too, yeah. But
Yeah.
if we had to get them both in every episode, and you had to ask me where I wanted each one, I'd want JLP running all the tribals, I think.
Yeah, if it had to be that way, then yeah. Okay, I'm on board.
I don't know, very interesting.
I'm bored.
Yeah. I'm on board.
Very interesting. Also, the picture that I was pulling up while we were getting ready, part of the reason we were so late, was because I very much enjoyed Ferris's a tweet from Ferris.
Oh, I thought this is what you were gonna pull.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And obviously it has to do with Venus.
Yeah.
But I just loved Ferris tweeting. I've come to the conclusion that Venus is the female version of me. And Venus responded, "It's those Middle Eastern eyes." I just thought it was really fun to see our king Ferris interacting with Venus, who was on my team, and sadly she did go out in this episode.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about Venus this season. So
We did. And I was turning a corner with her. Like, I was really starting to root for her. And I thought that when she got this idol, I was like, okay, all right, this is it. She's in it to win it. This is gonna lock it up.
I cannot believe that every single person who got an idol this season left with it in their pocket.
Yeah.
Every single person.
We haven't even seen one played, have we?
No, they all left with them.
Not even an attempt to play one.
Yeah, nothing.
Like, I get that some people may have been a little more secretive with their idols and something you couldn't tell or whatever, but there are some that you knew for a fact had idols and you watched them walk out with it in their pocket and you never thought it might happen to me. None of them.
Right.
All four of them left with it in their pocket.
I don't get it. Especially since Tiffany was so dead set on using it. And had only changed her mind at the very last minute. Why you didn't use it the very next chance you got is beyond me.
And there was a moment in this episode where Venus was still like pretending she didn't have one, where she said to Kenzie, man, the way that Tiffany went out was like so terrible. I would die if I left this game with an idol in my pocket. I was like,
foreshadowing.
Venus! What do you mean? Oh my God.
No, yeah, it's very frustrating. It's
What
really
could be
annoying to me. I think what really frustrates me too is that, like, obviously the way Venus found it was just a very straightforward, go looking for it, find it, it's yours. But I guess, like, when you consider that 3 of the 4, it's like people have to like jump through hoops to like find a clue and then wait for their tribe to lose and then go back to the spot and dig it up, and then you get another clue so that you can go and actually find the idol, and then no one ever even freaking takes it out of their pocket, and it's just like, this is so pointless. I don't want to watch this anymore. And like, I wonder if all the work that goes into finding it makes people feel like they have to try to hold on to it, and maybe I can get through this last tribal without using it to hold on to it, because look at all the work I had to do to get it. It's like I wonder if that plays into it at all, of just being like, if they were just out there finding an idol, then going to tribal, maybe they'll be like, all right, if I use this, it'll go back into circulation, I can find it again. Or is it, no, I'm gonna have to go on another wild goose chase to find another idol that I already have this one though, like I just want to make this one last, and like I'm wondering if that's part of the problem. I don't know.
It just kills me, because like the first one, I got it. Like that was kind of, if memory serves, that was a little more like blindsidey. She didn't know she would have to use it. But then Hunter's, his name was brought up multiple times in that tribal. Why he didn't use it is beyond me. Tiffany, the entire episode was telling people, yeah, I'm totally going to use it. Absolutely using the idol. Didn't use it. Beyond me. Venus in this episode said, I can't believe Tiff didn't use it. I would die if I went home with an idol in my pocket. Like, at that point, you can only use this idol at the next tribal, and then it expires anyway. Just freaking use it. Just use it.
And the other kicker here is that I don't think anyone is. I feel like it's very, very unlikely that somebody will now find the re-hidden idol.
If they even choose to.
Because they've
shuffled
only good
up
for
that tribal.
Right. And they've already shuffled up so much now, and they don't know that it was found and left. and will be replanted, so they won't know to double back over the areas that they already
But
were.
I don't know that
Like,
it would even be replanted at this point because it would only be good for one tribal.
I think they'd still plant it in the case that someone might find it, though.
especially since we never got to see one. So even if in a normal season they say, "Oh no, we're not going to bother," like this time, hey, we got one more shot.
Oh my
See
god!
one idol played.
Has there ever been a season of Survivor where not a single idol was played?
I don't know.
Yeah, that is not a question for me.
Yeah, definitely not for me either.
Well,
I don't even know Big Brother lore like this.
right.
I saw it, yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. This has been a weird season.
Yeah.
Is this a good season? Is it bad? Here, okay.
No,
I have something.
I'm enjoying it. Now that
Yeah.
once we got to merge, I did start to enjoy it a lot more.
Uh-huh.
There are certain things I'm enjoying. It's just,
Yeah,
you know
there's
what's
a
interesting too?
lot of social stuff going on.
My,
There's a lot of chatter, and I like that.
Yeah, my brother Pat and his wife Stephanie recently had gone all the way back. They had never watched Survivor. They went to season 1 and they watched everything. They're currently watching season 45, so they're like right behind us. And today, my sister-in-law Steph told me that my brother has lost interest in the show since the new era started. That from 1 to 40, he was like all in, was loving it, and then as soon as we got to new era, he was like, "Nah, I don't really like the style anymore." So I'm curious, just...
I mean, of the new era seasons, I've only really loved 45. You know.
Well, don't sell 44 short, Jam and Carolyn. And Carson.
Well, no, but like there were a lot of things about that season that I wasn't big on. Like top to bottom, I loved 45. The other ones, like there were some decent ones in there, but like I feel like that's a pretty common point of view from a lot of like hardcore Survivor watchers, is that the new era is just not it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I just thought it was interesting to get the perspective of someone that was literally going, like, they've been binge watching Survivor from season 1 until today's season.
So much Survivor to watch. Oh my god,
I know. So like it's just interesting. Like it's interesting for us because we watch the seasons as they come out, and we'll go back and we'll watch stuff. But like for them, they've gone straight from old era into new era, and like so they've gotten like a very good opportunity to see that switch like immediately. So like I don't know, it's just interesting to get that perspective from someone who's watching it that way. But
it's a lot of Survivor too, but it's also not as many episodes as in a Big Brother season. So you could do 2 Survivors before you finish one.
That's so fair.
So.
Right.
I tried to, during the pandemic, start from 1 and do all of Big Brother, and I was like, this is way more of an undertaking than I thought I was starting.
You need multiple pandemics to work through, especially those early seasons.
Yeah,
like 70 or 80 episodes. Like, hell out of here. Yeah.
But all right, let's get into this episode. As we mentioned, we lost Venus. I'm down. I've lost my 3rd player out of 4. So I'm left with Q.
You are.
What a wild tribe mate to be left with. That could literally go any which way.
Listen, Q, every elimination that he survives, stock in him is going up. I had said to my mother like a few weeks ago, I was like, watch Q win this. And she's like, down. I'm like, no, I don't know. It's starting to look possible.
I know.
And now,
I feel like
yesterday she's like, uh-oh. She's like, if I said that night, if Kyle was right.
I feel like every season there's that one person. Last season we were saying this about Jake all season long, and he still made it to final 3. It's like there's that one person where it's like, we gotta get this person out. This person it's either the easy vote out or the priority vote out or whatever. We gotta get rid of this person, And week after week after week, that person survives. Sometimes with no votes at all. And it's like, if you know how to own that game at the end, that is absolutely like a winning social game.
There's something to be said for the fact that even when people say that they want him to go, they end up not. I'm wondering if there are aspects to his game that we're just not seeing.
There's gotta be something.
Because like when you think of how much time, this is at least 24 hours in between, like, elimination cycles here. We're only getting like less than an hour of dialogue why do people keep trying to include him in votes despite his chaotic behavior at almost every tribal lately? Like,
there's something in his social
something
game.
that
There's
he's
got to be
doing
something.
right. Like,
I
we're
think
just not getting to see it.
I think most of it is Maria, though. I think it's Maria guiding the votes. I don't think it's Q.
I don't know if Maria can take credit for all of them, though.
No,
There's been
but
a
even,
lot
like-
of times this has happened.
But is it
I mean-
Q's vapors that have gotten, Maria
Vapors.
misted?
I mean, I don't know, because when you think about, like, Venus has been voting Q, Liz has been, like, very honestly, Liz is the weird one too, because Liz has been talking about how much she hates Q, but she went along with the plan to blindside. I almost said backdoor, to blindside Tiffany last time. So, like, Liz is definitely an odd one. Like,
that Liz moment this episode made me want to rip my skin off
Right.
a little bit, though. That was pretty rough.
But that to me didn't have anything to do with Q. I mean, I think it has to do with Maria and Charlie and people making those, like, convincing people that as much as we all want Q, this is the smarter move. I feel like this whole episode we were talking about how everybody was talking about how much they hate Q. Like, I feel like Maria's the one dragging him along and being like, yes, we all hate him. But that whole, like, scene we had where Maria went to Liz last episode, like, listen, I know that you hate him, but just think about it this way. If we vote Tiffany out, we get her idol out and all this stuff. Like, I think it's been way more other people, like, strategizing around Q than Q actually helping himself.
I mean, but even just the fact that people want to rally around him. Like,
I don't think they're rallying around him.
I mean, what I'm, like, trying to get the votes to try to not get, you know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that he even has
rallying.
I knew what Gina was saying with the way that John twisted it was just
you know exactly what I'm saying. Shut up.
I didn't twist anything.
No, it's just the way he said, I don't know about rally.
Well, that's what it was said. I didn't twist anything. You said people are rallying around Q. Nobody's rallying around Q. I think they're rallying around Maria.
I will, but, like, going back to that Liz moment where she is just going off about how much she can't stand Q. She wants Q out of here. You will never get. She's going off about how much she hates him. And I think it was Venus clocked that he was standing right behind her, and he's like, Liz, and she's like, no, I'm not going to silence myself anymore. This is why I have allergies. And I was like, I can't do this. I cannot do this.
She's losing it, the poor thing.
Oh.
Man. She is unraveled.
It's rough. It's so rough.
In her defense, when Maria is telling everybody that she wants to make this decision based on whose bodies are failing them and who hasn't eaten, and Q, like, literally just ate the Applebee's reward, and Liz is standing right next to him, and you're telling them, oh, make your case, and then, oh, rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, she could have gone about that a little better.
Yeah, she could have gone about that much better. That was very terrible.
But all right, well, so let's go to the beginning.
We're all
episode,
over the place.
Yeah, so just before we got into the daily challenge, obviously we came back from Tribal. Tiffany had been voted out. It was funny because Kenzie was, like, upset that people didn't tell her about the vote to blindside Tiffany, and she got emotional about it. But honestly, I didn't have a problem with them not talking to Kenzie and, like, filling her in, because I definitely got the impression that Kenzie was having cold feet about voting Tiffany out. So at that point, I'm not going to include her on the vote either. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. I see where Kenzie is coming from here, though, but I'm still getting, like, frustrated with how much people are talking about just wanting to have a move. Like, there's such focus on that, and it's like, I don't know why it bothers me, but I'm just kind of getting, like, a little tired.
I feel like it is a product of the shortened game, because there's less time to prove that, like, this is my step. Like, you almost have to have this big grand move to prove that you contributed something.
Yeah, no, it's not their fault. I think this is just part of the reason why I'm not, just another knock against the new era is all.
Yeah. Because it's frustrating hearing that, like, that's the only thing that everybody's thinking about is I have to make my big move.
Right. Yeah. But, like, to John's point, like, I did kind of feel bad for Kenzie in this moment a little bit, because you were talking about this before.
Yeah.
And now it kind of just grew legs and no one included you. So even though she did seem to have a little trepidation in there, I don't know, she could have been pushed a little further, just had another conversation, because if you could have convinced her that you'd have the votes this time, because that's really why she had the cold feet, is that because she tried to float this before and y'all didn't go with
Right.
it.
You weren't receptive.
So it's like, so now it's like, I don't know, like, should I trust this now? So like, you should have given her some reassurances here, because she was the first one to kind of say this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely agree that like it's definitely, I think part of it is a product of like the shortened game, but I feel like there is something still weird and just different about this season in particular to me, though. Because I feel like even in the new era with the shortened game, it feels like there have been times where like somebody pulls off a move and like they can claim that move, and it feels like it's been a common theme throughout this season where everybody's talking about how like they need their big move. But we've talked about how like there's been so many times that someone got voted out in the season and there were like multiple people being like, that's my move. So it's just very weird, I feel like, this season. I can't put my finger on it, though.
Yeah, I just don't remember so many people saying it. Like, we've been at this length of game some time.
Right,
I don't remember there being
so much emphasis on it. Yeah.
And I find
agree.
it getting exhausted with it a little bit.
I agree with you.
Even though I understand why it's at the forefront of their mind, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. What did you think about Maria suggesting a final 5 of herself, Q, Ben, Liz, and Charlie that would target Kenzie and Venus, as their immediate targets? What did you think of that final 5, especially knowing how like Liz cannot stand Q? Like, I don't know, like, does Ben want to be in that final 5? I mean, I guess if you're part of a final 5 deal, I guess you just take it, but I don't know. It was just a very, very interesting mix of people here, I thought.
It is an interesting mix, but it also doesn't surprise me that the 2 people that she would want to be out of it is female. Now, after Gina mentioned that tweet that you had stumbled upon.
I don't remember who said it. I didn't.
Oh, that was you.
Me.
Oh, it was you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Whenever that tweet was stumbled upon, and now we found that kind of suggesting that Maria just doesn't want to play with the girls. It's like, well, of course you're suggesting 2 girls. And of course you'd want to leave in Liz, because like,
I also just point out about the whole pizza awkwardness is that Maria won that, immediately decided to take Ben, right? Didn't know who to select as her last option. And it came down to both Charlie and Kenzie were like, I'm fine. I'll step out. Like, I'm doing okay. I'm not that hungry. Like, give it to one of the other 3, which brought it down to Q, Liz, and Venus. She told the 3 of them, make your case. Venus was like, I'm fine with whatever decision you make. And then immediately Maria was like, okay, Q and Liz, rock, paper, scissors. And like, obviously it's rock, paper, scissors, so it's chance, and Q ends up winning. But like, why didn't Venus get to play rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, even she was like, what the hell was that about?
Yeah. And then we have a reward that ends up being Maria, Q, and Ben, 2 men. Like, it's just, I don't know.
That also, though, even that, like, that even suggests that why wouldn't you? Because I wonder would we have the same feelings about rock, paper, scissors if it did include Venus? Like, if it was Liz and Venus, it's like, okay, these are the 2 that are struggling the most. Now my hands are off. I could have actually supported.
Yeah,
I think the biggest problem
went to Applebee's.
Yeah. Right. I think the biggest problem was the fact that Q just got that huge reward.
Q just should not have been in the rock, paper, scissors.
And like, I can see there is a world where I can see like he just took me on a reward, so to pay it back, I should take him on. Like, I get that to a point, but when everybody is starving and he just had a huge feast, like, he's not the one.
So much food they didn't finish everything given.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he even said at this reward for the pizza, he was like, he's like, this, I shouldn't be on this reward. Like, this is not fair. I just ate so much Applebee's food, and today I ate like 23 slices of pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even he knew he didn't belong there.
Yeah.
But whatever. So anyway, Q is still hungry.
Frank, Q is still hungry. We eat daily, ideally.
I mean,
yes, I agree, Frank. But you know what we mean. Venus is just spitting bone. She's wasting away. That face.
Yeah.
There are certain angles of her. She doesn't look like her.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like I had looked down at my phone, I looked up, and I was like, "Who is this girl?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Venus!" Like,
Oh, I cannot imagine.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, while Maria was pitching her final five, and talking about how Kenzie and Venus were on the outs, we actually did get to see Kenzie and Venus having their own separate conversation about how Maria was a real target and that the Sega 3 had to be broken up. Sega 3 being, of course, Maria, Charlie, and Ben. So we had some of that strategy talk, before the Daily Challenge. We did also have an idol hunt. So now Tiffany's idol was replanted out on the island. We had a mad dash, everybody looking for the idol. And who finds it but Venus? Only to not use it.
It hurts. It physically hurts.
It does, especially with everything that she had said about finding an idol, because then she was, also on this hunt now with Kenzie, and not actively participating in the hunt, which I also thought was not a great move. Like, at least try,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a comment that Kenzie made too while this was going on, because this is where we actually got the title for our episode of the week, which was My Messy Sweet Little Friend, where Kenzie was like, Kenzie, like just the way that people on this season have been talked about Venus, she was like, yeah, I'm realizing that Venus is the only person in this game that hasn't lied to me, and here I am, like, I actually like Venus as a person. Who would have thought, like, in a million years I'm working with Venus? And I'm just like, what? Why is that necessary? Like, I actually like her as a person.
Yikes.
Especially because earlier in the episode, and I forgot to mention this, but when we got back from the last tribal council and Kenzie was very upset, Charlie actually went to Kenzie at one point and was like, listen, just so you know, this wasn't my move. It was Maria's. Like, I know, like, that you feel bad about being left out. And in a confessional, Charlie goes, yeah, like the way the votes happened this tribal council, Kenzie and Venus were left out, and the way things, happened, they were left feeling a little bitter. So I went to go talk to Kenzie, made no mention of going to talk to Venus, who he also just said was left out of the vote and felt bitter. So,
yeah.
Well, the thing about Venus too, though, is that, like, when I think of, like, when Kenzie made that comment about, oh, I actually like her as a person, like, I wonder if Venus is so game serious and game focused, is just walks up to you and blurts out some aggressive plan, and like she just deals with you in an aggressive manner, and people just go, I can't deal with this girl. I can't deal with this girl. And then you realize outside of the game, you're like, wait a minute, you're actually kind of cool. You're just an annoying game player. Like, I wonder if those are those interactions, because she does kind of just seem to just happen upon people and just give them a plan. All right, so here's what we're doing. I counted this, and it's like, well, who the hell are you? Like, you're gonna tell me what the plan is?
I'm still living for when they were having a meeting without her, and she was like, "What? You're gonna tell me I can't walk on the beach? I'm coming over here. I'm just gonna stand here. Just stand here while you have your meeting." I was like, honestly, go off.
Yeah, well, part of that too, and she was like, we're literally about to leave for tribal council, and no one has gotten to talk to any of you guys. Like, can we have a conversation with you? I think that was part of it too, because like, Venus had been in a group of like 5 or 6 other people and got up and just walked across the beach because they were all like, what's going on? What's the vote? And it's like, so good for her being the only person to get up and be like, hey, what's the deal, guys?
Cut the crap.
So we also got in this episode possible first signs of maybe some distancing between Maria and Charlie in this episode. Because even Charlie doesn't love how close Maria is getting with Q, and that it feels like Maria just has Q in her pocket. So, interesting to watch. We got a lot of talk about Maria and being a threat and needing to go. We saw Liz and Kenzie having a conversation where Liz told Kenzie about this final 5 that Maria had pitched. Liz said that Maria was the kingpin and that she had to go. And they talked about, possibly trying to pull Charlie in with them to vote Maria out.
It's so interesting because I feel like, I think it was Venus earlier, is like the only person that has ever considered Charlie to be any kind of threat. Where, like, in my opinion, watching the season unfold, Charlie and Maria are a duo, but Maria is this huge threat, this huge strategic threat they need to get rid of. Nobody ever talks about Charlie being a strategic threat, but we get his confessionals, and he's very strategic in his thinking and his moves and everything. But no one's looking at it. He won 2 immunity challenges in a row. Nobody's looking at him as a competition threat, especially the 2 that he won were the 2 right after Hunter was snuffed. So it's like we got rid of the biggest competition threat and immediately somebody else wins the next 2 competitions. Nobody's stressed out about that. It's so interesting how he's been able to kind of fly under the radar.
Well, he beat Hunter too in that immunity challenge. The first one he won was the one that Hunter actually went out on. Yeah.
You're so right.
And when you think about it, he also beat Tiffany, which I feel like Hunter and Tiffany probably were, if not the 2 biggest physical threats, like 2 of the biggest physical threats. And Charlie beat both of them back to back.
I don't know how nobody's looking at him.
You're right. Venus is the only person to say his name. And the time that she did say his name, everyone was like, no, get out of here, Venus. What the hell are you even talking about? Because they were all too busy voting out Mariah, who we had just watched a montage of not knowing how to jump off the ground.
Yeah, who, God forgive me, was contributing nothing to this game. Like, I don't know why people were threatened by her and why she needed to go in that moment. Like, there was nothing about her that I was like, yeah, gotta watch out for Mariah.
You're starting to convince me of a potential Charlie win here.
I feel really good about him.
Yeah, I think it's actually very, very possible. If he can, because like I think that because he is very strategic, he's going to be able to speak very well to the things that he did, even though they're not giving him the credit now. I think he's going to be able to take credit easily for it later. I think what will be integral to this win is making sure that he gets Maria out. Maria's got to go for any of that to work because she's going to be able to take too much credit. You got to cut her. And that actually has to be or should be his move.
Yeah.
Right.
Not just one he was part of. He's going to have to drive that one.
Totally. I totally agree. It's got to be his move.
Yes. No, I've been feeling a Charlie win for the last couple of episodes. I've just been afraid to say it out loud because I feel like if I say it, it won't happen.
Gina's endorsement is not always a blessing.
Well, Gina says she's never won a draft here, which I feel like I could have sworn. I could have sworn.
I promise you, I've never won a draft.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it would make sense. I mean, you would remember if you did win because you'd be part of your resume. Now it's just a blank piece of paper. Gina Morgino.
I have no
bullet point. Served the cease and desist. Print.
What's happening? Let's talk about this immunity challenge, which was also a reward challenge. For this immunity challenge, our players would have to navigate a series of obstacles while balancing a ball on an increasingly long pole. And then they would have to, in addition, now move this ball through sort of like a maze, right? And get it into these 2 targets at the end.
This looks hard as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looked very hard. It looked like a real showdown here between Maria and Venus. I mean, I like automatically just when I'm talking about Maria or Charlie, I just feel like the other person's name should automatically follow. but this was Maria and Venus.
Yes.
Yes.
And very, very close match between the 2 of them, going back and forth. But Maria ended up taking the win. So this is her first individual immunity, right? Or did she? No.
I don't remember.
I think this is the only one.
Mikey.
Right? And this is where, obviously, like we said, the awkward selection of who would go on the pizza reward with her.
Yeah, this is where it came
down.
Yeah.
So we talked about that already. Anything else to add or no?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, because we jumped around. We did it.
Yeah. I did. The only other thing I would add, I guess, is that I enjoyed how annoyed Kenzie was by it because, like, she had already volunteered to sit out. So this really didn't have any effect on her. But her confessional was so good. She was like, when Maria asked them to play rock, paper, scissors, and her mouth was just And yeah,
Right.
I'm just realizing Frank is totally right because Maria and Kenzie
was her
won
other
that. It was that
Right.
individual meet
I
when they got
always
split into
forget
teams.
about
So
that one.
I know I forgot about that one.
I always
Um,
forget that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
thank you,
Kenzie is
Frank.
fantastic in her confessionals.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She's
I
very
love
fun.
Kenzie.
Yeah,
Kenzie's
she's
great.
very fun.
Kenzie's one too that like at this point I'd be like, man, I'd love if she won this. She found a way.
Mikey's been saying it for a while.
Yeah. But
I don't know, y'all. I want it, and I want it for my team, and I want it for her. I like her, but like when we talk about Charlie, for all the reasons that he would win, I don't know that Kenzie's going to be able to do. What can she attach her name to?
Yeah, I mean, she'd have to pull, maybe she'd have to be the one that takes Charlie out or something, or beat him at fire making or something at the end, or something like that. Like I don't know. She'd have to.
Yeah, we're running out of time for something.
So yeah.
So,
but I was glad though that both Charlie and Maria were separated. That they didn't end up in the same spot after this immunity challenge and reward. Because obviously we had Liz, Kenzie, Venus, all kind of going in on Maria and how she made her decision with the pizza. And obviously Maria couldn't be the target because she had the immunity necklace. So, the old saying of if you can't take a shot at someone, take a shot at their number one, which is even Charlie now is pitching the idea that Q is the number one. So yeah, we got to vote him out. We got to vote him out, which works for him anyway. He was just talking about earlier in the episode how much he wants Q out. So this was good. And so that was their plan. The pizza losers, as they called themselves, were coming up with a plan to vote out Q. And then, we went to the pizza winners, which was just Maria, Q, and Ben. And they came up with a plan that it's Venus that's got to go. And this is where, like, I start to question myself again on, like, the Venus stuff. Because I think of Ben as very much of, like, a laid-back guy. And as the idea of getting rid of Venus is being pitched, Ben starts talking about how, Venus brings the negative vibes. And, like, so, I'm just at this crossroads where I'm like, is everyone being a dick to Venus and, like, she's getting picked on here? Like, or are we just not being shown all of these things that Venus is doing? Like we have seen her, sure, approach people sometimes somewhat aggressively, but I feel like we've seen people that like are very easy to hate on these shows, and Venus just doesn't fall into that category for me. And if you're down at the final 7 of this game, and there's been no real evidence of like Venus actually being this terrible person, like it's either not true or the show is doing a terrible job. Like how is production leaving out what the entire cast seems to be seeing, but the whole audience is like scratching their head at,
And that's what I was going to kind of get at too, because it's like it's almost been one of the main storylines of the season that it's like everybody and Venus. And it's like if that many people that consistently are talking about all of the reasons why she is this way, and you're not showing us any of them, like that's a little I have to imagine they would show us something if that's what they're building her entire story off of.
Right. It's like instead we're still getting, even in this episode, Kenzie realizing that the only person in the entire game that didn't lie to her yet was Venus.
Yeah.
Like we're getting the opposite of Venus being this sneaky person that's going to spread all these rumors and cause all this chaos. According to Kenzie, Venus is the only one that's been trustworthy with her the whole game.
And like, sure, we just talked about that conversation on the beach and things like that. Yeah, there are like little moments where I can see her maybe rubbing somebody the wrong way, but like that isn't enough to warrant how much people talk about her like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have nothing to add. I agree.
Just very confusing.
Yeah. But okay. Full group gets back together after the pizza reward. Charlie noticed the mood was tense. But we got Q and Charlie meeting up. Q was telling Charlie that the plan is get rid of Venus. Obviously, Charlie wants to get rid of Q. But he's obviously got decisions to make here. We had Charlie pretty much in the middle. I guess that's really what this came down to. We had one faction of the tribe trying to pitch Venus, right? The other faction of the tribe trying to pitch Q. Charlie in the middle trying to decide what the best move was for him. So, what else did we have here? What did you think of? I will say this was awkward. The Venus and Charlie conversation prior to Tribal Council. Venus trying to get Charlie sort of on board, right? Voting Q out, kind of being very vague, saying that like, oh, we're going to be really close. Just trust me on this vote. Like we're going to be super close after this. Someone in the game has an advantage, or there's I have some things up my sleeve. Being very vague and like how she was kind of describing this. So like I wouldn't love that as someone about to walk into Tribal.
Nope.
So
and I think that is what sealed her.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yep. I still don't see this as an example of like why everyone hates Venus, but
I don't know if this is any indication of how you interact with people. Like you're expecting them to just do what you're asking them, but you're not giving them anything. Like you've got to give people a little bit of something to get their buy-in. And this is how you talk to people. Oh, just vote the way that I'm saying, and just trust me. Got something up my sleeve. I'm not just following you blind. I don't really know you. Like, what if I'm just part of your next plan? Like, I don't know you. Like you're not giving them any reason to trust you.
Sure.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Like I said, like I wouldn't like this as if I was in Charlie's position. I just, if this is what everybody's talking about, like why everyone hates Venus so much, I'm like, all right, well, she left out details, so I'm just not going to work with her. I don't now think that she's the worst person ever.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't make it on a personal level, but I would just be like, I can't work with this girl. Yeah.
So, of course, we get to Tribal, and Jeff decides he needs his cushion. He needs his snacks. Tonight is licorice, but he's not sharing the whole bowl. He's just giving him one piece of licorice.
Jeff's doing too much.
Yeah.
He's doing way too much.
Old Tribal.
I'm over it. I'm over it.
Cushion.
He's like trying so hard to have that memeable moment,
Yeah, like he just wants to be like, I know, he's like, I don't know what this is. Like
he's like, right. It would be different maybe if he's always been like silly, goofy, like every season. I have never seen him behave this way at a Tribal Council.
Right. It's like it's just very disconcerting. I hate it.
He's like the old guy that's trying to be hip. He's trying to make some good TikTok content. So everybody on TikTok's gonna love my licorice bit.
What focus group surveys did you fail that led to this behavioral shift?
Oh man, and I love how like everybody's been talking about how like, oh, it's Savage Jeff is back. He's with the rice, and he stabbed the rice bag, or he's doing this or he's doing that, and it's like he's just acting like a doofus.
Yeah, now he's just like a silly little man with his little bowl of popcorn
and his cushion.
Yeah, you might as well just bring like a donut out there. What's the like the okay. So anyway, this Tribal started getting a little heated again. Venus and Liz talking about how Maria pulled off this whole farce of trying to get people to, play rock, paper, scissors and make their case when everybody knew that she just wanted to bring Q anyway to the reward. I loved how Q also was like, we know Venus wouldn't have brought me or Maria if she won reward. And Venus was like, well, how can you just possibly say that about me when you could never actually know what I would do?
Right.
Meanwhile, we just saw like Q win that other reward and bring Tiffany and Kenzie, who hated him. The whole point was to try to work with them and like get back in good graces with them. Who's to say that Venus wouldn't want to bring Q and Maria to try to get on their good side and work with them? Like, I did this, the Venus stuff. I'm over it. So, okay. I mean, is there anything that you guys from this tribal, other than now the votes, anything that you want to bring up?
No. I forgot some of that stuff because because this was also BB Can finale night. So like,
Oh yeah, this was busy.
yeah, this was a different kind of night. So no, I haven't retained a lot of this.
Yeah, I feel like the only other like notable thing was just like the stuff that Liz was saying, but it's nothing different than what she's always been saying. So like,
right. Q said a lot of stuff. Liz said a lot of stuff about Q, and talking about how she thought it was gross that Maria wanted to work with him. There was something else that Q actually said about Venus, saying how like everybody at camp knows not to tell Venus a name because then she'll go and spread it all over camp. And it's like, have we seen Venus ever
has
do
that
that?
ever happened?
Which again, I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but again, another example of if Venus is doing all this stuff, then show it to us.
Right. So it's either everybody's freaking crazy and ganging up on her for no reason, or the producers and editors are dropping the ball big time.
Right. Because I feel like when people will accuse production of shows sometimes of like giving someone a good edit because maybe they win the game or they get really far, or like you want to protect this person. We just saw Venus get voted out in 7th place. So like, who's trying to protect Venus?
But also, it's like, if you're not going to show us the evidence of why they're talking about her this way, don't show them talking about her that way. I'm sure there's 1,000 other confessionals they could have given us.
Right, you could have just left that comment out, and I wouldn't even known about any of that.
I'm sure there are confessionals about a billion other people and a billion other moves that you don't have to show us. Everybody hates Venus all the time.
Yeah.
The thing about Liz and going on about Q is that it's still not gaining really any steam. I still have no impression that he's in trouble going into this next week.
It does, but it doesn't, because other people still talk about him. It just doesn't ever come to fruition.
It still looks like Maria is going to be the new push. And I think that when presented with this, like, people will be more on board for voting Maria out than they will Q, because they want to be part of the next big thing. Because now, Maria has this big move that she can prove. And it's like, now she has put a target on her back. So Maria's going to dominate, I think, a lot of the chatter going into this next episode. And if that's so, and she goes, Q made it through again.
Yeah.
Which, at that point, he'd be final 5, which we've talked about, right? That's what we go into the finale with 5. And if he wins an immunity,
which is also, it's possible.
I cannot believe the 2 people we undrafted are both on a fast track to finale night.
Ben and Liz, neither of them drafted, now make up 33.3% of the final 6.
That's fantastic.
It's amazing.
All right. So when we had our votes, though, we did have 1 vote Q, 1 vote Kenzie, 4 votes Venus. Venus goes home, idle in her pocket. That was the end of the episode.
Who did Kenzie?
I don't even remember now.
Yeah, I didn't look.
I don't even remember. I wish I did.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Maybe Frank will know if he's still here.
I always forget to like watch the credits when they show all the votes. I just like, that's the moment where I tune out, and then I'm like, shit. Like,
I had purposely left. I was like, I don't want to miss a moment of the finale. So I had already jumped ship. So
right.
Yeah.
Now for the next on, it seems like Kenzie might still be going for Q. Not 100% sure, because we did get a lot of where it looks like Maria is going to be targeted, but there was a point where they showed Kenzie talking about Q. Ben talking about a big blind side is coming once again. So Charlie's got a lot of decisions to make here. Does he choose friendship with Maria, or does he choose, strategy side of the game and cut Maria?
This really is his opening. Like, I really hope he sees the opportunity he has here.
Yeah,
he's got to do it.
I'm also just very curious, because in the next on, the last thing we were shown, I believe it was the very last thing that we saw, was Maria laying on the beach crying, saying something died in me today. So obviously this would have taken place before a tribal council where she could have potentially been voted out. So what could have happened? Could she have maybe found out that Charlie was plotting to take her out, to blindside her? Maybe. Could that be what this is in reference to? I don't know. Could be exciting.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah. All right. You guys have anything else for this episode?
No,
I don't think so.
I'm satisfied. I feel like we got
Okay.
pretty granular.
We did. I'm about to get a little more granular, actually.
Wow.
Because God, I feel like I've been beating this into the ground all season. I know, but I have just a tiny bit more on Venus here. Okay, so hope you're not too tired of it
no.
yet. What?
I know
No,
what's
it's not,
coming. Go ahead.
What do you mean? I was going to talk about an interview that Venus recently gave.
Oh, I absolutely thought you planned an in memoriam.
Oh no. Listen. I gave one of those to my wife. You know, Jem gets that. Venus doesn't get that.
Sorry.
No, so I just thought it was interesting because we talked about how Venus, in this stream, actually, we talked about how Venus seems to rub people the wrong way when she does her game talk. It seems like she approaches people in sort of an aggressive way, like, this is the plan, this is what we got to do, you know, whatever. People don't seem to be very receptive to it. But it seems like it to us anyway, it seems like because she's very competitive and in that game mode, right? So now that she's been voted out, she's given some interviews. And obviously the season was filmed long ago, so she's been interviewed even more since then. But these are some quotes from her when she got to Ponderosa, where this is now the game is supposed to be over. And she told Entertainment Weekly, the vibes were terrible. I was terrified going to Ponderosa because I was like, all these people hate me. And then when I got there, several of the people there straight up did not talk to me, even though I still made an effort to be like, I'm sorry if I came off negatively or if I rubbed you the wrong way. I genuinely didn't mean it. Silence, did not speak to me. And then a few of them actually personally attacked me and my character. Honestly, Ponderosa was more traumatizing than the game because I was met with a lot of hostility that I didn't really expect because the game was the game and Ponderosa should be separate from that. It was a very difficult time. And Entertainment Weekly noted that she started tearing up while talking about it. She also, I did see that Venus said that the only person that really talked to her was like Hunter, and like her best time there was like playing board games with him and hanging out with him. So apparently some people that were there also like Soda and Tevin have come out and said that that's not true, that they tried to be very welcoming. Yeah, but other people are pointing out that Venus never named anybody. So like it's funny that Soda is coming out with a response to Venus's statement when like Venus didn't even say anything. And people are talking about how like when Soda got voted out, Venus was literally like, great game, love you, girl, you're such a sweetheart. Like, so like, I don't know.
We're sorry to Venus.
So that's it. Yeah, sorry, Venus. Venus voted out. And we'll just give one small, very somber. I'm your Venus.
Oh my God.
I'm your fire at your desire. Bum.
Please stop this.
All right. Goodbye, Venus.
Oh my
God.
God.
That was some ending.
So what do we have coming up? Yeah, what do we have coming up?
Not much.
I know.
Yeah, it's a quiet week.
I know.
Quiet
Big
week.
Brother Canada is over, which like I really enjoyed the season. Thrilled with the winner. Super happy it's over.
Yeah, I'm happy to have some of my life back.
Yeah,
3 episodes a week we don't have to watch.
Right. So we just have on Thursday, we have the challenge, All Stars 4.
Yeah, the
8
challenge also
p.m.
8 p.m. So that'll be this Thursday. And then Monday, of course, the 20th, we'll be back once. Oh, wait. No, we will be back the 20th.
We will be back.
Memorial Day is the following weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So yes, next Monday we'll definitely be back. Hopefully Mikey will be back also.
Allegedly.
Yeah. We have nothing to get into regarding our teams or the fantasy points or rankings or anything like that because Mikey's busy living that tour life, so we didn't get our updated stats. But all right, you guys have anything else before we wrap this up and end this stream?
No.
All right, very good.
Everybody
well,
have a nice week.
Yes. Oh, actually, I do have one thing.
Monday.
Yeah,
All right.
there it is.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. We are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod. We're out there. Throw us a like, a comment, a subscription, a follow. Head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave us a really nice review. And we'll see you soon. Later.
Lido.
Nice.